Welcome to Slice of Lime, a podcast by and for Lime Warriors, where we share truth, resilience, and hope, one episode at a time. We are not doctors, and this is not medical advice, just real stories and what's worked for us on our own journeys.
This episode is brought to you by Microbalance Health Products. Their liver health and detox bundle have been a great support in my mold recovery. It includes 3 supplements: L-glutathione, NAC, and Micro Detox Liver Support that help my body's natural detoxification processes run smoothly and support my liver to process toxins more efficiently. I've noticed a real difference in my energy and resilience since adding this bundle of supplements to my routine. You can find the Liver Health and Detox Bundle, along with many of our other favorite mold products, at microbalancehealthproducts.com/SOL and use code SOL at checkout for 10% off. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Slice of Lime. I am one of your co-hosts, Kristen, and I am joined today with Callie. And we have a really exciting guest today. Her name is Allison, and we met her through our TikTok community and found her story to be really compelling as she has been experiencing mold and dealing with mold toxicity and kind of has transformed that into now joining an IEP. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, but also helping inspect other people's homes to help them figure out what is also going on. But we were very inspired by Allison's story and what has been going on and transpiring in her life, that we thought it would be really great to bring to the podcast and shed some light on another person's experience. So, Allison, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Um, yeah, so, I have spent probably the last 2 years with unexplained symptoms, like a lot of people, start out in their journey. Um, Doctor after doctor after doctor. I think it was about 15 doctors by the time that I actually found out that I was dealing with mold toxicity. And it was very interesting because I had my home for 14 years, and when you tell people that you have mold, they're like, "Where?" Like, I don't smell anything, I don't see anything, and that's kind of where it was for me. So I guess I'll back up. My main symptoms started in 23. And I can really kind of time it to when I had some leaking happening in my home. But 2023, I came down with a very scary symptoms. Mine had been more neurological and balance, vision. I remember vividly driving down 95, and all of a sudden my world just kind of tilted, like literally tilted as I was driving. And I'm like, what is that? Um, and it would get worse. I started with the eyes, the nystagmus. Um, and, after 3 or 4 months of explaining my symptoms and trying to go from doctor to doctor, just yelling, something's wrong, um, they told me that I had vertigo, specifically BPPV, which is benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, and do a maneuver and you'll feel better.
And sorry, Allison, to interrupt, that's where the crystals are dislodged?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Now, keep in mind, I've never had vertigo issues. I've never had vision issues. I think the extent of my medical concerns were bronchitis, strep throat. I mean, just, stuff like that. I really have been pretty lucky over the years. I've never had anything that was too concerning. My gallbladder out, but that's, you know. Um, anyway, so everything was okay for a couple of months, and then January of 24, everything just went downhill. I had random joint pain, and when I say joint pain, I would be sitting on the couch for maybe 5 minutes. I would get up to go to the kitchen and it would be painful. Like my knees, it was just awful. And other things, like I would get these jaw tremors. And then I would get the hand tremors, and it was really like just random symptoms, and it was scary. Brain fog. I remember sitting at my desk one day and a phone number that I had given out probably 2 or 3 times a day for the last 10 years, I couldn't remember. I would ask my daughter, "Hey, did you do your homework?" And 2 minutes later, I would ask her the same exact thing. And she's like, "Mom, you just asked me that." Um, and I stopped driving for a while. I would catch rides when I could. I would Uber because I didn't know what was wrong with me. It, I knew there was something wrong between my brain and my eyes. They were not connecting, or they weren't connecting fast enough. And I've always been like a very quick person. Um, and I would tell the neurologist, like, there's something wrong. And I was labeled with, you have anxiety. It's hormonal. You're fine. Now, I'm a single mom, and going from being able to take my daughter anywhere or just leave to go, meet a friend, like I would like be so uncomfortable. I'm like white knuckling it wherever we go. And then I stopped driving if it was 10 minutes further from my house. If it's under 10 minutes, I'm fine. Anything over, no.
And sorry, just to ask, so is this because it was still at this point you're still like, I have your understanding, yes, okay, they're saying anxiety and hormonal, which I feel unfortunately so many women
Yep.
we've been labeled with that too.
Yeah. Yep.
But is it still you're under the assumption that this is still vertigo, or at this
Oh, I knew
point?
it wasn't.
Okay, so you knew it wasn't, but the doctors were still kind of claiming that this was this vertigo, that your crystals, because with the
So the
crystals,
crystals were done.
they were done, right?
They had done the maneuvers. Like when
Right.
they did the test, everything was fine. I wasn't dizzy. So at this point, you're fine. Like we can't help you. We don't know
Okay.
what's going on.
Okay.
And sensory overload, fullness. There was a point where my occipital area back here was a lot of pressure. And I'm just like, no, something is wrong. So anyway, let's fast forward to November of 24. I went to a behavioral optometrist and I said, look, there is something wrong. If you tell me this is anxiety or you tell me this is hormonal, you know what? I'm done. I'm going to leave it alone and just say this is age and it sucks. So he runs some testing and he comes in and he was like, have you ever been exposed to mold? And I'm like, no. Like, what? And he said, do you have Lyme disease? And I'm like, no. So I kid you not, when I get into the car to go home, and my dad drove me because I wasn't driving that distance, and this is like an hour away. And I told him what the doctor said. And I was just like, a year ago, I had a company out to do mold testing because I had an issue in my attic. And my daughter, because of my daughter, I was just like, you know what? Come out, do a mold assessment before I patch it, because it had been fixed. And so I called the mold company and I said, I need you guys to come out and reassess. Before you come out, can you send me my results? I paid you for 3 samples. I'd like to have the results. And I will never forget this. She said, well, I'm sorry, but I only have 2. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what do you mean? I need the ones from my attic. And she said, well, we didn't do your attic. I said, you were paid and called to come look at my attic because that's where I had a leak. And she said, I wasn't there. I can't tell you what happened, but we'll charge you $700 to come redo.
That's not okay. Yeah, that's not okay.
I said, absolutely not. So I said, you're fired and you'll hear from me again. So I call another company. They come out the next day and I kid you not, he goes into my attic, he comes down, he shows me pictures. He says, "Ma'am, this insulation has never been touched. I don't know what they did in your attic. This has never been moved." And so then he shows me the next pictures after he moved the insulation. And lo and behold, he took swabs because there was growth.
Oh, wow.
Yikes.
So he does other testing, air sampling in the rest of the house. It comes back a week later. And the amount and the types of molds that were found, I picked up literally a couple of things of clothes and took my daughter to my family's house. And we
Wow.
never went back.
Oh,
And
wow.
how long did you say you were living in that home? And then how long was the
14
leak?
years.
You were living there
Oh,
for 14 years,
wow.
but a leak had started happening like
About a year and a half prior.
a year and a half
Okay.
prior, but you started experiencing some symptoms and then they progressively got worse as the year and a
Yes.
half was transpiring.
Yeah.
Wow.
And was
So
your
I
daughter
had them
experiencing?
out. I had them out in September of 23.
Got it.
So was
My
your daughter
BPPV
experiencing
started in May of
symptoms too?
23. Yes. Yes. She has symptoms of POTS.
Okay.
Now, she has not been formally diagnosed, but she has been, through the testing and everything. And the doctor's like, "Oh, this is very common for her age. She'll grow out of it."
POTS symptoms are common for a teenager's age.
Apparently.
Wow.
He said getting up and feeling dizzy or whatnot is common at this age. Um, so right now we're just at the stage of tracking symptoms, tracking water intake, tracking electrolytes and everything. Um, and of course, the mention of mold was kind of like in one ear and out the other. Um, so anyway, so we left. And it was interesting because I did have to go back to the house a couple of times to do things. And every time I went back that night, I would have the most horrible night sweats. Absolute
Oh, wow.
drenched. And yeah, I didn't realize how toxic it was. When you're living in it every day, you have no idea. Like I said, there's no smell, you don't see things. There were other issues within the home that were hidden.
Hmm.
So it wasn't just that one, it was a culmination of a bunch of things. But when I had that mold assessment done in September of 23, had they done what I paid them to do, then I could have found other items that were happening in the attic. And I could have had a full-blown assessment done on my home at that time, which could have prevented the next year and a half of symptoms because it did wind up getting to my HVAC. And that's how we wound up being affected so much, is because it wound up being in the HVAC.
And is that so because it wasn't taken care of or remediated, the mold grows very quickly, right? And so somehow it was sucked into. Can you explain how it ended up in the HVAC? How about
Sure,
that?
sure. So all I can tell you is I was told that it wound up the toxic mycotoxins from the mold wound up being sucked into the HVAC and then blown around. I also know that I had growth in my HVAC. And so I didn't know at the time that dust is a great way for mold to attach itself and then grow more. I
Mhm.
had no idea. So, it was just a perfect storm. So, chose to leave. Um, thank goodness for family. Um, but it was a whirlwind, trying to figure out what to do from here, where to go from here. Stayed with my family until I could figure out what to do. And then, of course, I needed to have an assessment on any place that I was moving into. At the time, I didn't realize I should do a full assessment. I thought an ERMI on the return vent of the HVAC would be enough. So fast forward, I was able to find a home. I did an ERMI on the return vent, and I'm like, oh, well, whatever was found, I can just have the HVAC cleaned and we'll be fine. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wrong. So the one place that I didn't react to is the place that we were like, this is it. Right. Like we can heal here. We're good. Within 2 months of being out of the previous place, my daughter's pot symptoms were gone. Like she had no dizziness, she had no anything. And of course, I had hired a mold literate physician. We had her on supplements, we had myself on supplements. I was improving, I was driving. And we move into this place. And within a month, my daughter's pot symptoms is back. And by April, I stopped driving again.
Wow. And that's April of 2025.
Yeah. So, but when I purchased the home, the day that I closed, I had a full assessment done because I knew that there had been stuff found in the HVAC. And I was just like, well, even though this was in the HVAC, let me just make sure that the home is, good. And I was devastated with the results. I mean, when I tell you 4 weeks later, I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, I did not see this coming. I didn't
No.
react when I came into the home. It was the first, you know what I mean? And I wasn't as knowledgeable as I thought I was at the time.
Yeah.
So since then, I have had the bedrooms, bathrooms, and closets remediated. The HVAC went to crap, so I had that completely removed and replaced. And over time, I was getting worse, and I couldn't understand why. Like some symptoms were getting better, but other things like, why am I still not? Why is my world not looking right? Why do things not look like they should, right? Like my eye tracking when I read stuff is not looking right. I'm still having the jaw tremors, the temperature dysregulation. Like my face will get like burning hot, but I'm cold, right? So like I had the temperature dysregulation and I'm just like, what is going on? But I thought I was getting better because I was having less symptoms. But the symptoms that I was having was seemingly getting worse. So I was just like, well, maybe I'm just detoxing and these are taking longer. So we go on vacation. Now, this is before the HVAC was replaced, but after remediation. So we go on vacation. I felt the best that I've felt in 2 years on vacation.
Wow.
I wasn't having the dizziness. I wasn't having, I just felt really good. So we get home, and with an hour of being home, I feel like I hit this wall. It's like I walked in and I just hit like a mold wall. I'm like, oh my God, there's something more in this house. This house, there's something here. So a couple days later, my daughter and I both wake up and nausea. And I didn't even know that she had had a rough night. I had had a rough night, and I was just like, okay, something's up. So I take her to my family's house. I'm like, something's going on. I call my IEP, and I said, here's what's going on. I need you to come assess. So back in May, I called him up and I said, hey, do you need a scheduler? Because you're always on the road and you're so busy. I can do some part-time admin work for you. I know I work full-time, but do you need help? And he said, absolutely. He said, that would be fantastic. So I started working part-time for him, scheduling other folks who need assessments. So when I called him, he said, okay, well, look to see when I'm in Virginia. and go ahead and book me, in the afternoon, evening, and I'll come do that. So he came about 2 weeks later. Um, and he said, Allison, he said, look, he said, your floor, there is something up with your floor. He said, you have so much moisture coming from your concrete, like it's not sealed. There's no vapor barrier, and everybody knows that concrete is porous.
And is that,
Yep.
wait, sorry, two things, Allison. One is, for the listeners, and that, because I'm not remembering now, IEP stands for
Indoor environmental professional.
Indoor
Okay.
Environmental Professional. And is that
Yeah.
someone that
If
assesses your
anybody,
home?
yep. They come and assess your home. They look at it from an outside and inside perspective. And so you can find them on the ISEAI website, I believe,
Okay.
for someone local. There's not a lot of them out there, but they're very knowledgeable. But if you go to that website, I could be wrong, but I think it's ISEAI website. But yes, they do the assessments, they can do the testing, and then kind of tell you where you need to, or what you need to do to get your house where, it can be healthy for you.
And your IEP, he travels the East Coast, or he's primarily in Virginia?
No, he does East Coast,
East Coast.
but he does offer, travel packages. So he will do outside of his East Coast area as well.
Okay.
Okay.
So
That's good to know.
we may want to grab that info, his
Sure.
info for our listeners, and put it in the show notes. So if people are
Yes.
interested, they live on the East Coast,
Yeah.
they can find him. Okay. And they can work with you too on getting him to their home.
Yeah, I do the welcome emails, the scheduling, and then once the assessment is done, there's another person that does the after assessment. Here's your test results, and here's your reporting and stuff like that. But absolutely, I'm happy to provide that.
Okay.
But
And then,
yeah,
sorry, just the other question. So concrete. So I'm assuming, I could be wrong, he's talking about the foundation of your home. Like
yes,
he's going
Okay.
into your basement and he's looking at the foundation and he's saying there's something wrong here in your basement primarily, right? Because
well,
you were looking
so
at
no, I'm not.
okay.
I'm in a condo,
Condo. Okay.
so
Oh,
I don't have a basement.
Okay.
But I am on the bottom floor, which is right
okay.
over concrete. So it
Mm,
is over the foundation. So I have the concrete and then I have the flooring. And
Okay.
the problem is the concrete is porous,
yep.
but it's coming, the moisture is coming up and it's just there. Like it's in my flooring. So when they put the moisture meter down on every aspect of my floor that was not remediated because I had a vapor barrier put down, and then the flooring over the areas I had remediated.
Got it.
Okay.
Those areas are fine. But the other parts, so my engineered hardwood, my vinyl in my laundry room and my second bathroom is off the charts on the moisture meter. So he said, you need to have that looked at because you've got the moisture being trapped between the concrete and the flooring. So like the concrete is not sealed, and there's no vapor barrier. Apparently they just used glue. And so there's like a smell that also comes with it.
Oh.
And so he said you need to have that investigated immediately. And then he took a swab out of my HVAC on the fan blades. And when I tell you what came out of there, I was absolutely mortified. I had taken a my Myco lab blood tests. So I got the IgG and the IgE results of what toxins I'm currently reacting to
Right.
and chronically. And I was able to match some of them to the molds found in my HVAC.
Wow.
Wow.
So what had gone up between my January labs to June were most likely from my HVAC. So I had the HVAC, it was leaking and they couldn't fix it to begin with. So I just had it removed, and then I had my ductwork cleaned. I probably should have had them removed, but I just don't have those funds right now.
Yeah.
And then
Ooh,
we
that's
came back.
expensive.
Everything is so expensive, and nobody pays for it. Like your homeowner's insurance, they're like, sorry, it's not an active leak. We can't help you. Um, so again, I got a part-time job to help cover all of this expense. But also, thank goodness for my family. They've been so helpful as well. I could not have done any of this without them. They've been helpful financially, emotionally. They've, given us a place to stay when we've been in and out of the house. Um, so it's been quite the journey. But anyway, so I had a leak detection company come out to look at the floors and let me know, is there a leak underneath, or is this really just the concrete? And it looks like it's the concrete.
So
That's
what do you
wild.
Yeah, it is wild. So what do you do in the case of, I mean, even if you're a homeowner, like separate from a condo, I feel like, I mean, my logical next thought is like, well, you got to just cl- clear everything out, like like start over, like bang
Yeah.
down the whole building and start over.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can't do that. So what do you do in the case, or what is recommended in the case of your concrete, the issues with the foundation of your home? Like, what do you do with
So
that?
the recommendation of what I need to do, or what I'm going to do, is I opened up an insurance claim, and of course they are pushing it back. And now I'm going through my condo association. But regardless of where the liability falls, which is probably going to be me, I need to have all of the engineered hardwood pulled and all of the vinyl pulled under containment. At least I'm demanding it to be done under containment, because if there is what I think there's bacteria and most likely mold
Right,
underneath. It needs to be done under containment.
right,
Once that is done, then I will have, and I don't know which way to go. I don't know if I should have the concrete sealed and then flooring placed, or if I should do a vapor barrier over the concrete and then flooring. I haven't quite gotten that far. Right now, my goal is to make sure that it's pulled and removed appropriately. So that's kind of where we're at. So it's kind of like, and I think I put this on TikTok, but it's kind of like I'm pulling back layers of onions, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
So removed ourselves from the main toxic exposure back in November, right? And moved in here. The areas that were remediated were the areas that I had actual swabs show that there was active mold.
right,
That's one layer that's now gone. The HVAC is another layer that's now gone. And now I'm working on, the flooring.
flooring,
Um, but it's still a very scary situation because I feel this every day,
right,
Yeah.
and I can't tell what exactly is wrong. I just know that my world does not feel the same. My world does not look the same. When I'm walking, sometimes it's sensory overload, right? Where I'm just like, okay, this is way too much information.
yep,
Um, the driving has gotten a little bit better. Like, I'm a little bit more comfortable now
Good.
driving. Um, but it's still very apparent, right? I thought it was my ears. I went to the ENT. They're like, no, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with your ears. There's no inflammation. I went to the neurologist for a follow up a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to her about the neuroinflammation that I was concerned about, because that's exactly what my behavioral optometrist was saying, that you're having these issues because of neuroinflammation. And the neurologist was like, there's no evidence that you have neuroinflammation. So I wouldn't say you have neuroinflammation. And so I look at her and I said, I get that. I said, and of course, obviously, I was, nice about it. But I looked at her, I said, I really hope that you and your newborn daughter never have to deal with half of what I've had to deal with the last 2 years.
yep.
I said, so once I'm done and I'm on the other side, I said, I'm going to send you all the documentation and what I've done to get where I need to go so that you can better educate yourself for the future.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Good. Yeah, definitely good for you. Because I think there
Yeah.
is definitely a lack in knowledge. So it's weird. Like when you had posted in 2023, that's when you started having vision issues. That was my first symptom too. And then vertigo. And so I was like, that's so bizarre because for me, it was exact same. It was like literally the exact same timing and exact same symptoms. And then followed by a lot of neurological symptoms and neurologists. And when I had asked about Lyme, they threw their hands up. We don't touch Lyme, like they
Yep.
don't touch mold, they don't touch any of that. And so I kind of like gave up on going to neurologists as soon as I got my diagnoses because, or my root cause issues. How about that? Because it was kind of just like, yeah, you're good. I mean, there's something up with your heart rate, but you're fine. You know,
Yeah.
we check the
Yeah.
MRIs, they look good, like you're fine. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, I still have eye issues. I still have
Yeah.
same as you, I still have these issues that are neuroinflammation issues.
Yeah.
But the neurologists, for whatever reason, it's just not under their purview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe for some, but for the ones
Well,
that I
and
have talked to, it's
I
not.
mean, is it really like I've been working in traditional medicine for over 20 years, right? Is it really that difficult for people to look into their environment
Yeah.
as to being a trigger for their issues? You have, and I don't want to age myself, but um, a 44-year-old single mom who pre 2023 thriving,
Yeah.
Yeah.
enjoying life, right? Um, to now struggling to make it through the day sometime because I feel like something is wrong. Am I going to have a seizure? Is what's going on in my
Yeah.
brain going to cause me to, have this issue? Am I going to be able to keep working and supporting my 14-year-old? Am I going to wind up, not being able to do that one day? I mean, and then you get the anxiety,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? And then you get the depression.
Yep.
So I try to tell
Yeah.
people, you know, the anxiety and the depression are situational, and it's
Yep.
stemming from the fact that we know there's something going on, but nobody can say, hey, Allison, you've got this going on and this is how we're going to treat it.
Yeah.
No, instead it's, Allison, this is anxiety, you'll be fine. To me, waking up every day knowing damn well I'm not fine,
Right.
and
Right.
I'm struggling to make sure that I still provide the best life for my daughter and the healthiest life,
Right. Right.
Yeah.
and it's nerve-wracking, and to this day, nobody can tell me what's going on. So, I was diagnosed, the behavioral optometrist that I saw, he did diagnose me with a form of BBD. Specifically, it's binocular fusion disorder,
Okay.
which is a it's a form of binocular vision dysfunction.
And what does that
Oh,
mean
wow.
exactly?
So for me, my eyes have become misaligned. So I am
Okay.
no longer able to fuse items together as quickly as I'm supposed to. So they think that's what's happening and why I'm uncomfortable to drive, because my eyes are not fusing things together. So it's like misfiring, sending signals to my brain. So I am currently undergoing vision therapy.
Okay.
So
And
this,
did you
Mhm.
say this was an ophthalmologist? Like, is there? Because I went to an eye doctor, a regular ophthalmologist, and he was like, "You're
Yeah.
fine." And I was like, "Well, I definitely have the snowy vision." And he was like,
Yeah.
"Here's the glasses that are red, the red glass instead of the blue light. I have the blue
Yeah.
light, but he said, here's the red light, and that should help." And when I wear them, I'm like, I mean, maybe 1%. Like it didn't really
Yeah.
do anything for me. So I don't.
So I went through, let me see, I went through 2 eye doctors. I went through an ophthalmologist and I went to a neuro-ophthalmologist. every single one of them said I was fine.
Yeah.
I went to a behavioral optometrist
Behavioral optometrist.
who
Okay.
specializes in binocular vision dysfunction.
Okay.
Because I asked him, I was like, my eyes are not working together correctly. I don't know what's wrong. Everybody says I'm fine. Structurally, everything's fine. What's going on? And he's the one that actually said, no, you have binocular vision dysfunction. And he said, because I told him in the past, I've always been given throughout my entire life, I've always been given glasses that never work.
Interesting.
And yeah. And he said, yeah, he was like, because your eyes are not working properly together, but your brain has always been able to do what it needs to compensate. He said, and I think because of the mold toxicity and the neuroinflammation, your brain is now not able to compensate. And so therefore your BBD is much more prominent.
Wow.
So yeah, so I'm currently in vision therapy. I can't tell you if it's helping.
Okay.
I'm
I saw
not
you have those
seeing, and
glasses too. They're green
that's
green
one
and
of the
red.
exercises. I go into the office once a month, and they look at my, kind of my progress, and then they'll adjust as needed. I don't know if it's helping. It may be helping, and I'm just not feeling it just yet. Um, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to keep doing it, but again, it's sucking money out of me.
Yeah.
It's not covered by insurance. I had to fight for them to consider them to be in network. So I have to pay the optometrist and then submit to the insurance, and then they'll reprocess it. And then they'll, I think right now they're paying $30, but the visit itself is over 500
Yeah.
Each
And it's
visit.
just
each
terrible.
month.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just wild how, like, instead of getting to the root cause, a lot of these doctors who are covered under insurance are like,
Yeah.
you're fine. It's anxiety. Here's some anxiety meds.
Yeah.
But they're not fixing the issue. And
Yeah.
in order to go find somebody that will fix the issue, a lot of times they're not covered by insurance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me. So, I have been seeing a mold literate doctor. She is fantastic. And I searched and searched, and she's actually a pediatrician. The
Okay.
detox doc.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
the detox doc.
We just interviewed her
Oh,
a few weeks ago. Yeah. So she's
Yeah.
great.
I've been seeing her since like November, December when all of
And
this started.
and she's in
Okay.
Virginia.
She is. She's
Yeah.
down in she's south
That's
of me,
great.
so I see her virtually.
Nice.
And she is probably one of the only physicians that has listened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say probably. She is one of the only physicians that has listened and cared, and she's just been phenomenal. And I'm just thankful that I've gone from upwards of 25 symptoms. I'm down to 9.
That's amazing.
So that's progress, right? So
Yes.
you have to keep through this journey. I have to keep telling myself that it's progress. Like each layer of this onion is now healing my body to an extent.
Yeah.
It's just this last remaining issue that I have that I don't know if maybe the damage is just done. I think this is a world that none of us really know how our body is going to react. I would like to think that I'll heal enough for it to get better.
Yeah.
Um but again, I need to get these floors done. You can't heal completely if you're still living in it.
Yeah.
Can I ask?
And
Can I ask a question? When you say, and Callie, maybe you had this done because your floors, you also had to rip up all of your floors recently. But what is a vinyl? What is the coverage that you're talking about? Like a vinyl, like a barrier in between the concrete and the wood. Not the vinyl. What were you talking
the
about?
vapor barrier.
What is
Barrier.
that?
So when I was looking at having my flooring replaced through the remediation, when I was having the remediation done, I was looking into what would be the most beneficial for somebody living over concrete, right? And the research that I did is a vapor barrier. And my understanding, and again, this is just what I took away from my conversations with like the flooring company and my research, is that it will basically prevent moisture from um anything happening, from growth. Now, how is that done? I have no idea. But I'm looking into having my concrete sealed in the rest of the home. Again, like I said earlier, I don't know the best avenue, if the ceiling is the best avenue, or if I should do another vapor barrier. There was a website that I went on to, Green Homes. I'll have to get it to you. But when I did the remediation, I found this website that does, I don't know if it's like mold resistant or VOC resistant, but they do like a lot of green type things. So they do like paints. I did mineral paint,
Oh, cool.
so that
Very
it
cool.
didn't off gas too much. And so they had where we ordered the mineral paint. And then they also offered up, certain solutions for flooring. So even though, because at one time I was having a lot of sensitivities, like I could not eat red meat without feeling like I was going to get sick. I couldn't walk into a place that had too many perfumes, like Bed Bath and Beyond. Forget about it. I can't.
Right.
Not Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yeah.
Bath and Body
Body
Works.
Oh,
Works.
yeah.
Yeah,
I cannot
yeah.
step foot in that place, like
Makes
at
I'm in the
all.
sense.
same boat. Yeah, same boat.
It's like, and then I became like, once I left the really toxic home, I realized when I would walk into places, my nose would itch. And I never
Uh,
understood why some places this was happening. So my girlfriends and I, there's about 4 or 5 of us, I think, back in November, I had been gone from the home for about 3 weeks. We went to one of those light shows, right? It's like Christmas time, Thanksgiving time, and we went, and it was all outside, but you had to walk through a place to like pay and go to the bathroom and stuff like that. And I walked in, and my nose just all of a sudden, I'm like, what is going on? And I told one of my friends, I was like, I think I think I'm reacting to mold. And she was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I don't know. But, and we look up in the rafters, and you can just see like colonies
Oh
of
my
just like
gosh.
stuff. Now,
wow.
Wow.
was that actual mold? I don't know. But my body was telling me, you've got to get out.
Get out.
So
Yeah.
I paid, and I waited for everybody outside while they went to the bathroom. And then ever since then, I'll go into it when I was looking for this new home. My previous home, I got rid of pretty much everything. Like we had to toss the entire place.
Oh, sorry about that.
If I knew what I know now, I probably would have stored it first and figured it out later. But I
Yeah.
didn't. I literally tossed my entire life, with the exception of maybe 10 boxes that are still sitting in my garage.
Wow.
But saying that, I walked into a furniture store to figure out, okay, we need beds, we need couches. And the minute I walked in, my nose was going crazy. And I look up, and there's water stained tiles everywhere. I'm like, I can't be here. Walked right back out.
Yeah.
It
I
was
don't, yeah.
just, but I didn't realize, again, because I was so new, I didn't realize, oh my, how have I survived for the last 44 years without having this issue? And
Right.
then my understanding is, you know, all if you don't detox appropriately, then it just compounds,
Yep.
Yeah.
right?
Your toxin
The
bucket, right?
toxin
Your
And
bucket.
toxin
then
Yeah.
one
bucket.
day it's just like, okay, sorry, but you're overrun, you're
Yeah.
pouring over. And I think that's what happened. Um, you know, and that's kind of where we are. It's definitely been a journey,
Yeah.
one that I did not have on my bingo card in 24.
Right.
But it showed me that I don't need anxiety medicine to heal myself.
Yep.
I may need the anxiety medicine to help with the, with the reaction from the symptoms.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm doing what I need to do to heal us. Now I will say, I have been very fortunate. I have been fortunate that my dad is so understanding. My sister and my brother-in-law have been very supportive. Um, Never once have any of the three of them made me feel like it was in my head.
That's great.
My friends have been great. So I will definitely say that having the support that I've had has been absolutely instrumental in me not breaking down more,
Yeah.
right?
Good.
Well, I think that
So
helps your nervous system too. I mean, you always
Yeah.
want, even though you feel unsafe in the home that you live in, you want to feel
yep,
safe with the people that
With
are
your
around
family.
you, with your
yep,
Yeah.
family, with your ability to communicate what's going on. And
yeah,
even though doctors may tell you you're fine and you're not fine, at least your family is believing you. And I think that,
yeah,
and
Yep.
friends, and I think that's huge for you to feel safe with the people that you trust most. So I think you're lucky
yeah.
in that
Yeah.
aspect because not everybody has that.
And
Yep.
that's why I said I feel very fortunate and very lucky. And I've also have educated the folks that I work with because they've been through the journey because they've known everything that I battled. And so there's some of them that are like, oh, wait, which leak detectors did you get? And oh, well, I really need to have my HVAC cleaned. So that's a good idea. Or hey, what purifier? So, at least they're able to take some steps to prevent things
Yeah.
um before they possibly happen.
Well,
So
well, and Allison, to that point, so you're in a better environment, but still a moldy environment, right? That you're working with a doctor who's literate in mold, which is great, and that's a good recommendation. Are there other things that you're doing to that point to, if a listener's like, hey, I'm in a moldy environment,
mhm.
I need to remediate. I know I need to remediate. I can't get out. Like, here are some things that, like, some tips or pointers. Like, I know you recently posted you got the EC3 candles
I
for
Yeah.
did.
Micro Balance products, or like you do the laundry additive, like, and
Mhm.
the air purifiers. Like, are there like, a few key things that you would say are tips that you have for someone, that are helping
Sure.
you specifically, and you're in a multi environment?
So, I mean, obviously, as we all know, the best way is to get rid of the mold, right? I think everybody's on the same page that if you can get rid of it, get rid of it.
Yeah.
However, that's not always possible. And I'm in it currently. But what I do, which I don't know if it just makes me feel better, like my comfortability level. But yes, I got the EC3 candles. I burn those regularly,
Same.
so I do have quite a stock of those, and it gives me a lot of comfort. I will burn those every day, um, and then I do have dehumidifiers to keep the humidity down, so that it prevents further issues.
Yep.
I do have air purifiers. I got the ones that Dr. Shoemaker
Okay.
put on his recommendation list, the Air Oasis.
Yeah, I've heard of
Um,
that one.
I can't tell if they're better than the others. I've never tested the others. So I can't tell you what the best thing to use is. That's just what I use. Um, I do try if the humidity level outside is low, then I will normally open my windows for about an hour a day. If the humidity level outside is high, then I won't, just because I'm trying to keep the humidity level inside my home low.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have moved from using plastic water bottles. I now have one of those Brita filters that I
Oh
use.
yeah.
So that's something that I've done. What else have we done? I'm trying to think. Oh, whenever my daughter is out of the shower, I always go to the floor around the shower to make sure that there is nothing left over.
Oh,
Smart.
good.
Very
And
I
smart.
haven't
then
even thought about that.
yep.
Yeah.
And then I always use the vents. So I started using the microwave vent that's over my stove.
Ah, okay.
I use the vents in the bathrooms. And then I got these little, I have an alarm system that, I've always had, but I have leak detectors in
Oh, wow.
areas that I don't normally see. So behind my washer, I have
Oh,
a leak
good.
detector. I have a leak detector. So my AC was leaking, and I had put a leak detector on the outside of it. So if it ever kind of leaked over, I would know, which thank goodness I did because I wasn't home and it started leaking. And then I put leak detectors wherever there's like piping. So under the sinks, behind the toilets.
Smart.
And then I have it connected to my alarm system. And that way, if it goes off, I'll get a notification on my phone, whether I'm home, whether I'm not. And that way, if there is a water leak somewhere, it's not, it doesn't have time to create anything before I can get to it.
So that is so smart. And I think
Yeah.
for our listeners, again, if you could send us, we're going to have a bunch of links from you. If you can send us like
Yes.
that product, where you got
Sure.
it, then
Yeah.
we can
Sure.
put it in
Because
our
I
show
haven't heard
notes.
of anybody doing
Me
the flood,
either.
like, leak sensors, so that's
Yeah,
amazing.
so it's
Yeah.
it's it's a little box, and got it through my alarm system. So, the company that I use for my alarm system, people can call if they have an alarm system. I would recommend calling I think ADT, there's Vivint, Vector. I think there's a bunch out there, but I would recommend calling them to see what links with their systems. Um, but yeah, that one, I was actually, when I was staying with my family while they were doing the HVAC replacement, a couple of days prior to the replacement, I was notified, and there it was like, "Hey, hot water, hot water, hot water." And so I was able to
Oh,
have my neighbor come in and turn off the hot water so that, not the turn off my AC because it was the AC that was leaking, but it was like water, water, water. And so if it wasn't for that, um, I was staying with family, so that would have, I don't even want to think about what would have happened.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's
that would have been
huge.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do use a filter that my HVAC company recommended. It's a MER filter. Um, I asked them which one to use that goes with my system. So I would recommend using a MERV filter, but go through your AC system to make sure that you're not using one that's not fit for your system. And then every 6 months, I've decided that when the HVAC comes out to do their maintenance, my instruction to them is to take the system out and clean it. I don't want any dust. I don't want any of it.
Very good. I don't even know if we have people come check our HVAC. That's
Yep,
great
I have,
advice.
so
Yeah.
they do maintenance, every 6 months, so they'll do maintenance for the fall, before the winter, and then they'll do maintenance, before summer, and so, yeah, my instruction to them is take out that piece with the fan and everything else. I want it cleaned out, I want it sanitized before you put it back in, and that
Wow.
way, whatever has accumulated for the last 6 months is gone.
I'm gonna
Hmm.
start doing that because we don't
Yeah,
do that
same.
either. We
Yeah,
just
we don't do
replaced
that.
ours because, yeah, same thing, massive mold issue in our house, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I
do
just
maintenance now.
I
We
do
never
not
did
want
maintenance.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, and then, once a year, I'm gonna have my ducts cleaned, along with the, filters, the ones that go outside, like the, laundry filter thing, and but, yeah, those are just kind of the things that I have on my to-do list to keep everything where it needs to be. Because I can't afford to keep running,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as much as I want to, because that's what I did the first time because it was just too much. So I have to make the best decisions with what I have. And that's to make this place as safe as possible.
Very
And
smart.
so, that's where I'm at.
Well, these are all great tips. So, Allison, we are at time, but just wondering two things. One, if you have any advice for anyone who's going through it right now and maybe needs some words of wisdom, and then also for our listeners, where they can find you if they want to follow along on your journey and keep
Sure.
learning from you and all these great tips and advice that you have.
Sure. I am on TikTok at One Moldy Mama. And I think really the only advice I can give is we all know our bodies the best. And if you think that there's something wrong, then don't stop. If one doctor, two doctors, I went through 15 and they were all different specialists, neurologists, neuro-ophthalmologists, ENT. I mean, I went through them all. Keep looking because that last one, that number 15 for me, is what put me on this journey. And that's why I went from 25 symptoms down to 9 because I was then able to be proactive. So find a good support system. We have amazing people out there that have been through it. You guys have been through it. And there is help out there. Not everybody is gonna, tell you that it's anxiety or it's hormonal or whatever the excuses are. So just keep fighting, and sometimes it's 1 hour at a time.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
We
Well,
really
thank you for
appreciate it.
having me.
This has been
Yes.
so great. And yeah, hope everyone goes and follows Allison. And
Thank you.
we hope to see y'all next time.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share it with a friend who might enjoy it too. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Slice of Lime to stay connected. And we would love to hear from you. Send us your questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes. Don't forget to check out the link in our description to see our sponsors and partners. When you use our codes or links, you not only get a discount, but you also help support the podcast. If you'd like to support us directly, you can always buy us a coffee through the link as well. We are so grateful that you're here, and we'll see you in the next episode.